And there she is. Or isn't, for people listening. So the Zoom lady still doesn't come out of the recordings. I'm going to sound silly now if she did. Anyway, welcome back. This is episode 25. I did my research before I came onto the podcast because I wanted to see how many we'd done before we took a 17-year break, because my timekeeping's somewhat shit and we're very busy. We're very busy and important people. So, frankly, you lot are lucky we're taking the time to make this podcast. I'm kidding. Like, for all three of our listeners, you're all good.
Both of you are incredibly lucky.
Both of you, even the one in Singapore that's probably gone now.
Yeah.
Lovely to have you here. Thanks for joining us. Anywho, hi, welcome back. It's been a while. How you getting on?
How long has it been?
I didn't do that much research. Talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to have a little look and see when the last one was out.
Sharing time you're wasting.
I'll tell you how long it's been. It's been long enough that I can't find the app on my phone to find where I do the thing. Hold on, I'm going to have to do like a search. Oh my goodness. It's been that long. That's how long it's been. And it's been that long that now it's... right, here we go. Last episode was put up October. 19th of October 2021. We did episode 24.
Wow.
It's been a while. We've been quite shit. I've been quite shit. I'm going to put it on me. It's my podcast. I've been shit. I'll take the blame. Even though, it's a shared relationship, but, it's what it is.
Yeah. But, I'm going to let you have it all. No worries.
Thank you very much. So I've been...
I'm older now. I'm a year older than I was. But I've turned a new year since we last did this.
Nice.
I'm so much wiser.
Yeah, you're not a year older since October because it's January.
Well, roughly, give or take a few months.
To Mercury and the days are a lot faster.
Yeah, or if you round up, if your maths isn't strong like mine and you round up, then that could be.
I'm not yet a year older. I'm a year older in a month and a bit.
This is why I don't work in calendars. But
speaking of calendars, completely. Here's the first tangent. We have a Redbeard Strongman calendar, which is fucking terrible and amazing. It's a charity thing. It's £6, and you can have some of the strongmen dressed like bricks on your wall for an entire year. It's good. I've got a few left, so if you're after one, drop me a note and I'll get you one out in the post.
I'll give you £6 to not have one.
Totally fine. It all goes to charity. Yeah. I'll take that.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving back to the point, the reason we don't work on calendars is because, one, they confuse the hell out of me, but also we make really, really bad calendars. But they're all good. I also feel at this point I should address the banging and clattering around in the back of the gym is Rich, who incidentally is November in the calendar. He needs to pick some up before he leaves. But yeah, he came in November and did bicep curls dressed as a banana because famously November is National Banana Month. There you go. And also bicep curls because curls.
Yeah.
Anyway, more to the point, that's been about 5 minutes that we've chatted about calendars and general nonsense, which is great. So we've started in true fashion. It's good to see we've not lost.
He's my favourite member of the armed forces is general nonsense.
General nonsense is great, along with like major function. Good.
Should we talk about goals? That's what we're going to talk about today.
We're going to talk about goals. Yeah, I feel like we should talk about goals, but we may not. But yeah, so being as it's January and stuff, and obviously January famously is fitness month for
New Year, new me.
Everyone, new year, new me, and all that kind of good stuff. So let's chat goal setting because I, much like yourself, I imagine, have had lots of conversations with members, clients, general population, also another great army veteran. And many conversations with people around goal setting and what they're doing and how they get to a point. And like, I will start this with the new year, new me thing. And the fact that I've seen entirely too many coaches, personal trainers, whomever, slagging new year, new me people off. Pisses me off more than it probably more than it do, but it really fucking does. Like, in my humble opinion, if it takes for the first Monday in January for someone to pull the finger and go, right, let's go, who the fuck am I to judge? Like, that's what it took for you to get to that point. Crap, like, go for it. And then when you go to a gym, there's personal trainers sat around tables laughing at you because you've got new trainers and you're trying to do your thing. And they go like, they'll be gone in February. They won't last long. They don't know what they're fucking doing. That really pisses me off because it's a trainer's job to go and help them stay past February and tell them what they're doing. That's my take on the subject. So if you are one of the people and you are listening to this podcast and you said, new year, new me, I'm going to start training at the gym. I'm going to start trying to eat healthier, train more, do stuff, learn a thing, fucking go you. Like, crap.
Yeah.
I hope we are 20 days into January. I really hope you're seeing some progress and you're starting to stick to things and it's going well. On the other hand, if you are starting to flag at the start of the thing and you're into the last week of January, you're not seeing goals, you're not seeing progressions, fucking get in touch. Like, drop myself, drop Charlie a message, go see a personal trainer in your local gym, find a coach, find someone that can help you through it. Because, like, you've started, like, you're 3 weeks in, you're committed, you might as well fucking crack on. If you are listening and you're one of the trainers or coaches that takes a piss out of these people, get in the fucking bin.
Yeah, I agree. It's arbitrary, but then personal trainers will start a diet on a Monday. I bet you'd have all done it. How many of them work their training within a 7-day week, which is an arbitrary fucking figure in the calendar anyway? Like, it's exactly the same. There's no different. Like, for you to say, oh, this isn't a good time for someone to start, that implies that you think you know best about when is best for them to start. And who gives a fuck? I can give a shit what someone thinks I should start and when.
Yeah, 100%.
I've never outsourced any decision making to people I've never met, no matter what their profession is. So, not about to start.
100%. It's whatever it takes for the individual. I think
Yeah.
people like arbitrary. People like, it's Monday, I'm going to start a thing.
Yeah. And after Christmas, it makes sense. Like, most people will Christmas properly and then think, I'm going to have Christmas and then I will crack on with this thing that's important.
100%.
Fine.
If it takes a Monday in January, then fill your fucking boots. Like, whatever it takes to get you there and move in, great. And if anyone tells you otherwise, punch them in the throat and tell them I told you to do it.
Yeah, agreed.
There you go. But anyway, so, goal setting. That leads us nicely into my little rant.
It does.
Fucking hate that whole thing. But goal setting is one of those, it sounds like a really wishy-washy, flaky thing to talk about, but it's really fucking important. Because it's sort of get yourself a gym membership or buy some kit like everyone did through lockdown and put it in your garage and go, right, I'm going to do stuff. And that's great, but there's a busy idiot, or like you can sort of plan things through, set some goals and like have a plan to get to them.
Yeah.
And again, I'll see if you mirror this, but I think the biggest mistake people make when goal setting is going too big too soon.
Mm-hmm.
To elaborate on that, if someone goes through and they want to qualify for an event, let's go back to what we talk about, like strength sports. So if someone wants to qualify for the British Championships in December, like in weightlifting per se, and they know at their body weight, they need to be able to snatch and clean and jerk a total of X, whatever that's going to be. But at the minute, they're 50 kilos below that total. Right? So they go, right, I need to find 50 kilos, I need to do it like now. So like in itself, totally valid goal. But if you go into the gym and you can't put 50 kilos on in a month because you're not fucking He-Man and you've been doing it for a while, you don't get newbie gains anymore, it's really easy to get quite dejected. So I feel like the goal to him to qualify for the British by the end of the year is a completely valid goal. But then I will split that goal down into lumps of like manageable, achievable things. And I think we've spoken about these before. I call them BAM goals. It's like your bare ass minimum.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is the absolute bare ass minimum you can do now that's going to get you a little closer to that goal, so that when you wake up in the morning and you kind of go, I really don't know if I can feel like this, you do that goal. It's the bare minimum. And that might be prep your food for the week. It might be plan your sessions. It might be go to the gym. It might be get some steps in, do some exercise. It might be anything like that. Little goals. And then on days you could do more than that, that's a massive win. Then you set the goals going through it. So that's my broad stroke around goal setting. Like, how do you kind of go out the same thing? Do you agree? Do you disagree? What's your plans?
I agree. I think what's important there is that you've sort of allowed people to have dreams of things that they would like to achieve. Like, qualify for British is a dream. It's not something you necessarily control, because if people have a better total than you and you can't get the total in that time, you don't control that. Things you do control are the things like you said: prep your food every day, lift this many times per week. Like, things that are actions that are tangible that you can go, I can measure whether I've done that this week. Even stuff like snatching a certain total at this point is an absolutely fine goal, but it's not one that you necessarily have complete control over, because you could do everything right and then turn up on the day with a cold, not your day, etc. All the factors that affect performance, and not snatch what you wanted to snatch.
Yes.
But you have to be content that actually, if I tick off all these process things, I've done everything I can. And if that's not enough, then so be it. I'm still happy to still achieve what I wanted to achieve. I've just not been able to control the thing that I couldn't control. I think the two things that people struggle with, one is that they set ridiculous goals, like you said, that are clearly not achievable. And the other is that they don't set any goals at all.
Yeah.
So actually at the moment, I've got like this email course that people are doing on goal setting, and check the link in my bio on Instagram if you're interested.
Right.
Hashtag plug. And like, I use the example of like, have you ever heard about that runner who just started running and like found they were quite good at it and like really enjoyed it?
What's come?
Yeah, exactly. But then they then got a qualifying time to run the marathon at the Olympics, and then they won gold, and they're suddenly singing "God Save Our Gracious Liz" because they've won gold for Britain. Have you heard that one? No, because
that's amazing. I haven't heard that, but that's amazing.
no, probably because it didn't happen. Because those people have that as a goal. Like you don't just like pick along and go, "Oh, this is all right, isn't it? Fuck, I'm good at this." Like you have goals along the way. Olympians have.
I like
well, it's been Tokyo.
Fully took advantage of the story I told you before this, in that I had about 3 minutes of sleep last night because my daughter was being a douchebag. And you fully took me down a garden path. I'm like, this is a fucking great story. Where do I find this?
Yes, you go.
Cheers.
Yeah. If you don't have goals, like Olympians don't just stumble upon the fact that they're like, oh yeah, I've become a gold medal winning Olympian. Like they've had that as a goal for a long time, and they've had lots of steps along the way, lots of ways of measuring it, lots of things they have to do in order to get to that point. So in terms of my process for setting goals, if I was to work with a client on this, the key things for me, and we've come back to this loads of times, are like the values and identity stuff that we spoke about. Like if you set massive goals, and a lot of people do, and they don't align with the shit you actually care about, you won't hit them. Like, oh, I want to lose 30 kilos. Why? Will the process of getting there actually make you a better person for the stuff you care about? I want to lose 30 kilos because I want to be there to play with my kids. That's all right if you've got 30 kilos to lose and that's realistic and would actually help. For a lot of people, that's just going to mean like ridiculously low calorie diets, which mean you don't have the energy to play with your kid, to then get to a point where you have the energy to play with your kid. Like, it makes no sense. So I always think that the values and identities is first. I like people setting like a longer term goal, like who would I like to be in like 5 years? Because I think people get too caught up in they do something for 12 weeks, like we see it in the transformation bollocks that PTs do. The 12-week transformation, brilliant, I've got this end goal, now what? Oh, actually, I have no idea why I did that, what that's going to lead to next, what's next for me. And something we see with Olympians is they win gold, or athletes in general, they finish their careers and they're like, oh shit, now what? Because they've not actually thought, what's the sort of greater meaning, without trying to sound too wanky to this.
No. Perfect sense. It's like there's no out. We've sort of spoken loosely around this before in terms of, if you look at weight loss, if you look at like lulls, who we talked about before and stuff, it's like it's all well and good. Like we can all lose weight. That's relatively simple, but then it's the maintenance. So like it's the same as this. You get to a point in your athletic career, whatever that may be, and then fucking what? So yeah, there's absolutely bang on. I agree completely.
Yeah. And then you set that 5-year goal, you think, what are the things I really want to achieve? What are the things that are stopping me? And then from there, you can sort of work back and think, okay, what's my goal for like 3 years or for a year? And then you get to the point where you're like, what's my goal for the next 12 weeks in order to keep moving along that sort of progression of my goals? In terms of the size of the goal, I think it's sort of like a Goldilocks. It's got to be just right. Like if you go too small, it's just not that inspiring, or you'll just achieve it too quick. So like if I said, I want to lose half a kilo, like I just go for a shit and then I've done it, and I'm like, oh well, what now? But if you say like, I want to lose 30 kilos in 2 weeks, you're like, well, save like massive amputation. You're probably not going to do that as well. So if you set a goal, you should feel like inspired and motivated by that goal. If you don't, it might be a bit small. If you feel stressed and overwhelmed as soon as you've set it, it's too big or it's not realistic. So you're trying to find that balance between the two.
Yeah, totally agree. It's kind of mirrors what I was saying at the start. In terms of like, your goal's got to be, I think your goal's got to be big enough that it scares you a little bit. Also, that's the long term, and then you set bits in the middle. So I had this conversation with a mutual client of ours quite recently, Bex. Shout out Bex. Yeah. Proper lovely lady. She's got some weird and wonderful goals going on, and essentially the story goes, trained loads, did stuff, stopped training loads, now can't find the motivation to get to the gym, actively doesn't really enjoy the general stuff. So let's chat around a goal that you want to do. And then the goal turned into X from Y. I'm like, cool. So that's a goal that I can't necessarily help you with, but I can definitely help you with how to get there. So all of a sudden her goal was for something outside of the gym. I was like, right, I like, let's say an arbitrary number, we all like 10. So we'll go from like where you're at the minute, which is where, and I think to quote, it was sitting on the sofa munching What's-Its or something like that. And then number 10 is the goal you want to hit, which was to do, it was around like equestrian stuff, so like riding and doing stuff. I was like, cool, you've got your start, you've got your end. Now we have to build the bridge in the middle. So let's go like number one, check it off your list really quickly. Like number one has to be like a really simple one, and that is talk to a professional. So like you're talking to myself, talking to you about how to get that thing. So you've already done one, tick it off your list. Now what's number two? Goal number two is like get a thing. Goal number three is going to be get another thing. Goal number four is get another thing, another thing. So you add these goals in, but you check them off as you go. And like 10's a nice number to get to. I think we worked out the bridge in 8. So if you get to 5 and it goes a little bit south, you can just tangent off and find 10 via some other bits, right? So I like the idea of like kind of a ladder, for want of a less twee way of putting it. And each rung is a goal, and like you just smash the rung off the ladder as you go along it.
Yeah.
And I find that works well for a lot of people because you've got it in front of you. And I'll say to them, like, write this down. Like you get a pad, you get a pen and paper, and you write it down. It's like, put it somewhere. Put it on your fridge, put it in your drawer, put it on your laptop, put it like anywhere you got, but you've got it and you know it's there to hand. So that when you start going, oh, it's like 6 months in, I wanted to be in my year's goal, blah, 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 blah. And you bring that out and you've crossed 7 of 10 things off your list. You're like, actually, I'm pretty far ahead. And it's a bit, see it, it's tangible. I really like doing that thing. So write it down, I think, is a really underused skill.
Yeah.
Like you've written it, it's in ink on paper, and it's something you can see, and it holds you accountable to a point.
Yeah.
Other people use apps in their phone or like memory, they remember it through, and people can do that. I'm not like that. I have to write my shit down, and then it's
same. Yeah. Well, I think there is something as well in the actual form of writing it rather than typing it or whatever, and there is some neuroscience to back that up as well. That writing stuff like that down is better for you than typing it or saying it.
Yeah, absolutely. I've read a few of this. In fact, I had a conversation around that with a friend of mine, neuroscience. Incredibly amazing man. Like, fuck me, boring, but like the stuff he talks about, amazing. But we were talking about that thing, and yeah, there is something. There's like a some like neural connection to like I suppose like the tapping of your thumbs, because tapping your thumbs on a phone screen is texting your mate or putting an appointment in the calendar. Whereas like writing a thing down, especially now, apparently there's something strong about writing because we don't write anymore.
So there's a bit of a time delay as well. It takes a bit longer. Yeah.
In some more. So yeah, absolutely. I think what we need is Harry Potter's magic quill. You remember in that one where he wrote it down when he was getting punished by sunk into his skin? I think that, but like temporarily.
Yeah. She's the new queen now in The Crown, which is a weird turn of events. To be so evil in Harry Potter to then be the queen, there's a sort of juxtaposition to that I'm not entirely comfortable with.
I started watching The Crown. I think I got through like mid-season 2, and then
you live it though, so like they're your people. So
yeah, I basically like me and Liz are like that. We're like best mates.
Yeah. Here's the thing. To a northerner like me, I'm like, this is good, isn't it? Like, do you think they live like that? Really brilliant.
Pop for a Yorkshire tea and a Gary Baldy from time to time. Yeah. Here's the thing I've realised I just can't do. If you're listening to this on podcast, this won't mean fucking anything. But if you're watching this, I've just realised I can't cross my fingers properly. Like, I can do that, but I can't just like, it don't work. There's a thing. Maybe I've got arthritis. Who fucking knows? I'll Google it.
Maybe.
But digressing. I watched season like halfway through series 2 of The Crown, and then Charlotte just overtook it and finished it. And then I lost because I don't know where I was, because I have that thing on Netflix. If I finish the thing, I just pick the thing up and carry on. Because I like fucking 4 series in front of me, and all of a sudden like, Margaret Thatcher's in, and like, fuck me, where did this come from? Like,
Olivia Colman's in. You're like, oh, this is different.
That's it. So that's really interesting. That Umbridge is the queen. Amazing.
Yeah. Where were we? Your goal listing. That's good. One thing that I've saw not long ago that I've used and really like is, if you're struggling to think of how am I going to get to this goal, write down your goal as a question. So if you said, I want to put 100 kilos on my bench, which is my goal for the year. I don't bench anything at the moment, so I just want a 100 kilo bench. Instead of saying that's my goal, saying how would I go about trying to get a 100 kilo bench, and write down 20 answers and pick one and run with it. So like, because there are loads of different ways of achieving almost every goal. There's no like right way of doing something. So actually, if you say, now I've got to do this, you're like, oh my God, I've got to do that. Whereas if you write down 20 answers and go, that one sounds pretty cool, actually. And it might be, like you said, like, get a strength coach for 12 weeks to program for me, because actually follow a program for 12 weeks scares the shit out of me. I tried that before, it didn't work. That's my goal now. And that's the answer to the question, which is my goal. So that's quite a nice way of doing it. And that lends into yours quite nicely, in that you've got 20 and you try the one that you think will work and it doesn't happen to work. you've got another 19 that you can just go, oh, well, we'll try that one now. I got this far with this and then got stuck. I'll try this bit, see if that works better.
Yeah, I like it. I never thought of it that way. Yeah, that's I like it. Same but different like approach. Decent.
Yeah.
I like it. Very wise man. Yeah. To be fair, you look quite wise with like your stubbly little beard going on and stuff. Like
I've always been told I'm quite old and wise for my age. Like I'm 27 going on 45, 50.
Old owl.
Yeah. Like also I've got the lower back of someone who's about 72.
Same.
So yeah.
But
you've barely got a back, let alone like the back pain. Your actual physical spine.
When like a bit of fruit goes rotten in the fruit bowl, you don't notice
it.
Starts taking things out with it. I feel like that's what my back's doing from either side of my spine to the middle. I think that's what's happening. I've got like mouldy oranges at either end of my spine.
The worrying thing is though, to cure that is you take the oranges out of the fruit bowl, so there may be some spinal removal. You just take the big middle bit out, and then everything else will be fine.
Right, I'm 6'1" to 5'5", like that.
Think how strong would the strings have to be to turn you into a puppet? You need get chains. Get the chains out of the gym. You must have some chains, and then just dangle you up.
I've got 2 20-kilo chains.
Perfect. And just have someone above you who's got pretty big front delts, and they can just hold you like this for fucking ages. You'd be like a Thunderbird.
I mean, pretty big front delts would be a fucking enormous understatement. Because me plus 2 20-kilo chains.
You're now telling me that you can't front raise like 140, 150 kilos. That's on you, mate.
Me plus this 40 kilos is 180 kilos.
Well, we're not built the same. If you can't do that, mate, then maybe we should be having conversations with someone else.
I could definitely squat it. I don't know that I could.
Yeah. But you don't want someone squatting on top of your face.
No. Well.
With you. Well, we digress slightly there.
Goal setting. My goal is for someone to squat 180 kilos on my face. It's not a goal. Anyway, so capping off goal setting, manageable chunks.
Yeah.
I think the sort of the underlying message in that. And like I say,
motivation is something that people struggle with goal setting. What would you say to people that like set goals? So like people like this, like 3 weeks in, go, ooh, motivation's waning a little bit now.
Well,
discuss.
The go-to. That's what I was waiting for more. You kind of like.
That's all I've got, mate. That's all I'm giving you.
And then you pulled it back again. People that get 3 weeks in and go, motivation's waning. My go-to with that is right. Let's find out where are you at on the ladder, or like what have you done between then and now in the last 3 weeks to get there? And then like if the next rung on the ladder that's scaring you or demotivating you, whatever it is too far of a reach, we'll build more steps in between the two. So again, it just goes back to that bare ass minimum. Like, what's the next step that's going to get you back on the road? And it's the same of if you're training and you hit a plateau in your strength or you're training, like you stop recovering, you stop getting stronger, you stop gaining strength, you stop improving, as it were. Just sit your ass down, look at what you've been doing in the gym, and then change something, and then fucking go again. But like, it needs to be a dramatic change in the sense of, I've changed this, I'm a week in, I'm now seeing results. I'm like, cool, we're back on the horse. So in terms of goal setting, it's no different. You just sort of reassess the goal you're trying to hit while you're not there yet. Reassess it, reevaluate it, set new ones, and then fucking go again. That's how I deal with. And then it's got to be, if I was talking to a client, or a member here, or just a person looking for some advice on it, the goals have to be your idea. Because if I say, what about this? And you go, that sounds great. It's still my idea. You haven't got the emotional buy.
Yeah.
I'll skirt around and lead you to that point. And then you go, this, like, fucking brilliant. Yeah. That's how I deal with that.
Yeah. And I guess that comes back to the values again, is that at best, if I'm suggesting what you should do, I'm guessing what your values are, and I might not be right. At worst, you're taking goals based on my values, not on the things that you give a shit about, which won't work because you don't give a shit about them. That makes a lot of sense. I like the image of you making the client physically get up a ladder and then asking them where they are on their ladder, and then getting all the way to the top and have to go up and then, like, I don't know, clean some windows or something, or do some dusting in the gym.
Like a roofing ladder, but they're scared.
Yeah. That'd be nice. Or like even like a high ropes one. So like a Go 8 sort of shit.
A cargo net. Like, you just keep climbing and you never get higher. Yeah. I feel like I could do like the full strength and conditioning coach thing and just put you in a completely unnecessary speed ladder and make your foot move really fast for no reason.
That, horizontally or vertically, there's them Jacob's ladder machines in the gym, which are utterly pointless as well. That'd be great. So either way, mate, vertical or horizontal, you've got options.
I like it. I feel like I've got room
Ladder.
to take this ladder.
Pointless physical ladder is key to emphasise this metaphorical point that you're making. That's vital.
In fairness, I'm looking around for it because I have got like a telescopic ladder in the gym because I put a flag up in here the other week and I needed a ladder and I just haven't took it home yet. So good to set the ladder up outside, and it's, you know.
Imagine no one's ever going to say the words, Charlie, I'm struggling with my goals again. She'll be like, get on the fucking ladder, come on.
Get the ladder.
Send for the ladder.
Climb up it till you're scared. That's where you're at. But yeah, so that's the
issue is you're going to get a client that's highly motivated but just got vertigo or something, and that's where your ladder thing falls down completely because they just won't get up the top, mate.
Oh, you don't want your ladder to fall down. That's a disaster. That's when you put you need to foot it at the bottom. You need someone to stand at the bottom. Safety, Charlie. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, sorry, mate. You probably need these days. You need hard hat, steel toe caps. You need the fucking works, wouldn't you?
Here's a very small
ladder.
Before I started working in fitness, I was a carpenter. So when I left school, I was an apprentice. I did 3-year carpentry apprenticeship, worked on site for a few years whilst I was learning this. Hated it, was all right, wasn't quick enough to work on price, didn't make any money, hated it. It's fucking terrible. Prefer the gym. Anyways, there was a site I was working on for a building company called Weights, and you'll see them all over the place, like a big sort of commercial mob. And they had this dude that barreled around, and we used to call him Robocop because he'd fucking loom around the place, and he had like safety goggles, hat, visor, ear muffs, like mask, high-vis boots, boiler suit. He was a health and safety guy, and he'd like barrel around the site. Anyways, I was in, see you later, Rich. I was in one of the show flats. There's like a big block of flats thing. I was in there and there was like 5 or 6 sheets of snagging, right? Which is like a list of things that need correct. Like that door handles loose, these doors hit, that's not a thing, and if the kitchen works, I've got a chip in it, that sort of shit, right? I was in there snagging, and there was these 2 double doors in a wardrobe that didn't line up properly. We're in there, and I've got this little like 1/2 meter high hop-up thing that I'm stood on, taking the top of the door off, right? This dude walks in and immediately looks at me and says, "Where's your harness?" Are you fucking kidding me? So that, basically, he wanted me to put a harness which had a 5 meter break, and he wanted me to anchor it to the ceiling in a new house. Basically, this is the equivalent of someone coming around your house, a little bit of painting and decorating, goes up the top to paint the cove in or replace the foam tiles you've got above your bed at the minute. And then they have to put an anchor in the wall somewhere for a harness and break, which is touching the floor whilst you're working at height. So you're more likely to trip over the harness and fall down.
I did that. Why do you think we've still got the tiles, mate?
I like
Every time someone comes in to do it, I'm like, get your fucking harness on. They all bolt, so we've not got it done yet.
Where's your fucking harness? Exactly that. So, yeah, health and safety, it's a very serious thing.
You can't put a price on being safe. That's what I always think.
Correct. I think that's the moral of this podcast.
I can't believe we've got onto that from ladders.
Right? Yeah,
that's good for you, even for us. No wonder Rich went.
Yeah.
He's only halfway through his session. He's just had enough.
Look at him, this half the shit. He's just gone.
With motivation, there's a really nice equation that I saw to sort of explain motivation, and what you can do is look at why things aren't working, look at these 4 factors that make up motivation, and then sort of diagnose where the issue is. So it's basically like motivation equals, and then on the top of the equation it's expectancy and values. So the values is obviously the shit you care about, who you want to be, who you want to be there for, etc. And expectancy is like how likely you think it is that you'll actually achieve what you want to achieve, and like how much you think you'll benefit from actually achieving it. So like if you don't think you're going to get that much from doing it, your expectancy is low, therefore your motivation will be low. So they're at the top of this equation, then multiplied together. They're really important. We want to maximize them. At the bottom of the equation is impulsiveness, which is obviously like sacrificing your long-term goals for 3 barrels of Ben and Jerry's right now. So like not having the stuff that you want in the long term because you're focused on feeling better in the short term. So there's impulsiveness, and that's multiplied by delay. So like if your goals are way off in the distance and they don't even feel like tangible right now, that's going to decrease your motivation. So you're sort of doing the work, you're thinking, I don't really know what I'm doing the work for. It feels so far away that I don't really see the point in this. So those 4 things, so expectancy and values, expectancy times values divided by impulsiveness times delay. If you look at your motivation and think, why am I not motivated? It's normally one of those things. So it's either it's not aligned with your values, you actually don't expect to be able to achieve it, or you don't think you'll get that much from doing it, or because you're being impulsive and you're actually doing things that aren't actually suiting your goal, or the goal's too far away. And you can fix one of those things quite easily. So the bottom two are normally where people go wrong. So it's like the impulsiveness, like they just go and do stupid shit that doesn't help their goal, or it's the goal's too far away. If the goal's too far away, that's why we set those small goals. So that's why I have like a 5-year, this is like my big bastard plan, like this is who I want to be. But I've also got a goal for this year. I've got a goal for the next 3 months. So like for business, for example, I've got one for 5 years, but I've got this year's targets. I've got this quarter's targets. I've got this month's targets. And then I break that down further and go, these are the actions that I want to achieve this week. And impulsiveness generally comes from either you getting in your own way. So there's some like limiting belief stuff, like we all the sort of things that we tell ourselves about, oh, I'm an all or nothing person, the good and bad stuff, like all the stuff that we spoke about before, or it's not planning properly, and it's not planning for things to go wrong, because things always go wrong. And there's a really nice framework called WOOP, which is basically wish, outcome, obstacle, plan. So it's basically, I've got this, I want to do this behavior this week. I'm planning for shit to hit the fan. Because if you do that, all the research shows us that you actually achieve the thing, because you are saying, I know it's going to go wrong. This is what I'm going to put in place for when it goes wrong. Whereas if you just, and we always plan so optimistically and think, well, I feel great now. I'm really motivated. I'm going to do this and it will go great. And it doesn't. And people are like, I can't believe it didn't go how I thought it was going to. It always goes to shit. So if we can use something called implementation intentions, which is basically like, if this happens, then I will. So like, I'm going to try and hit 10,000 steps a day, for example. If it's pissing it down, which is very likely, I am going to, and it might be like, I'm going to drive to the gym and walk on a treadmill for a bit, or I'm going to like something like that. I'm going to just walk in my big coat for a little bit, or I'm going to plan for the days where it is dry to do more steps. Really simple stuff like that makes such a big difference to whether we actually do the behavior or not. And that's a really important part of goal setting that people just completely skip past.
100%. It's yeah, it's again, it goes back to doing a thing that helps you to the thing. Bare ass minimum. So like one of the things, I had this conversation this morning, weirdly enough, with one of my clients, and they were basically doing the thing. They come and see me once a week, and I program them sessions for the rest of the week, and they go and do the thing. I haven't seen them log a session on the app for programming yet, so I sort of caught them this morning. It's like, what's going on? I'm just not feeling it. I wake up in the morning, it's dark, cold, it's miserable. I'm really fucking tired. I just can't find the motivation to get my ass to the gym. I'm like, fair enough. So like, when you wake up, like, do a thing, because obviously when you wake up in the morning, it's dark and cold and rainy and horrible and shitty. No one's all that motivated to do things. If I look out my window this morning and my truck's covered in ice, it's cold as fuck. I've not slept all night because my daughter's been up shouting at things. I'm tired as balls, and it'd be really, really easy for me to go, fuck it. I'll take the day off and just. Yeah. But then it's, my goals are bigger than that in terms of I have things. I've got responsibilities to clients, to podcast listeners to make this happen since October. Other things that need doing and all of that. So it's kind of like, it's the sort of the metaphorical, like, have a word with yourself. Do you know what I mean? But also, by and large, it's really shit initially. When you get out of bed and it's warm and nice, you look out the window and it's cold and horrible, you look out and go, fuck that, I want to get back into bed again. By the time you're up, dressed, fed, out the door, it's not that bad. So I tend to say, if you sort of get to the gym, and like your example there, get to the gym, do a bit of walking on the treadmill, get some like arbitrary steps in, go for a walk in your big coat if it's raining, that sort of thing. My thing is, if I need to train, but I'm just not up for it, I'll come to the gym and I'll give myself, I'll set a 10-minute timer. I'll get my shit, I'll do some stuff, I'll move for 10 minutes, and I'll keep moving. And that is, as long as it takes me to like load my next working set on the bar, or I'll get the rowing machine down, or a little bit of cardio, move around for a bit. Give myself 10 minutes. If after 10 minutes, my timer goes off and I'm still feeling, I'm not here, fine. I'll can it, I'll give myself a rest day, and then I'll catch up tomorrow. But usually after 10 minutes, your blood flows, you've warmed up, feeling good, you've got some weights in the bar, you've already got stuff out to train with. Fuck it, I'm here. I'll carry on. And then you kind of go through that. So it's that sort of, it goes down to, I guess it goes down to like a discipline thing of having the kind of wherewithal to go, fuck it, go try, go do a thing. But then having the same thing in your head of, I went and tried, it didn't happen, it's all good. I clearly need a rest day, or I'll do again thing. And then not calling that failure. Because that's a really, I went to the gym, I didn't finish a session, I failed. Fuck off, did you? You didn't want to go, you turned up, you did 10 minutes of something, that's awesome. More than you would if you'd just got back under the covers, turned the pillow over and went to sleep again. So big fucking hooray. genuinely.
Yeah.
So
The two things with that are like, if you can make a habit smaller, and people never do this because they think, oh, 10 minutes isn't enough. You can say, my goal is to train for at least 10 minutes 4 times a week. You'll train for an hour and a half, 4 times a week, or however long your session is, 95% of the time. But on that 5%, you at least have gone and tried and done 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It's when people say, I've got to train for a minimum of an hour, that's immediately overwhelming on days where shit does hit the fan. And you go, well, I'm not going to be able to do that. The other thing is that one of the limiting beliefs that I spoke about in terms of things that hold people back is I only do things when I'm motivated. Like, that's bollocks. Like, I think you probably know this. I can't remember if I've told you. I train at like 5 in the morning. So I get up at 4:30 to train just because of how my brother's works, and I give him a lift and stuff. If I only went at 4:30 in the morning, fucking January, it's -2 outside. If I only went when I was motivated, I'd never go. Like, who's motivated to do something at 4:30 in the morning?
sucks.
But again, yeah, it does. And there's no getting around it. Like, by the time I finish, I'm like, this is pass. And I'm normally warm enough to go for a walk afterwards, regardless of what the weather's like. So I'm like, I've got something done today. I feel pretty good already. But yeah, if you just say, I do this when I'm motivated and when I'm not, then I don't, then you're never going to achieve anything. No one's ever motivated for, if you think how long it takes to make a change, like probably 3 months until you start to see and feel a change. Like, you want to be doing this stuff for years. No one's ever motivated for 3 months on end, let alone years on end, consistently. So if that becomes the only reason whether you do something or not, you're never going to get very fast. You have to sort of just take motivation out of the equation and not even worry about it.
It's like discipline over motivation.
Yeah.
And it's just, like you say, having that sort of wherewithal to go, nah, this is the only chance I'm going to get to go do it. I'll go do it.
Yeah.
There was one I saw the other week, and it's, one of the excuses I hear a lot is, oh, I'm just really tired. Well, go do it tired. Like, you'll wake up.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know anyone that's gone through a workout and gone, I feel as tired now, mentally, like tired, sleepy tired. I don't feel as tired now as I did when I started the workout. Physically, maybe you've worked out, you've got a bit of sweat on, you're probably a bit worn out. But then you get that reward. There it is, first one. I said there'd be a few of those. Yeah. There's one. You get that reward response of like dopamine. Yeah. Your brain feels great. And you go away, and then you set yourself up for the day. And then later on in the day, you might fucking crash because you've been up since 4:30 trying to train. So if you have the ability to, stick a 20-minute nap in your diary, or do you know what I mean? Like that sort of stuff. Don't get me wrong, I'm fully on board with the fact that not everyone has the ability to take a 20-minute nap.
Oh, yeah. I'm not saying you should train at 4:30 in the morning either. It is a stupid thing to do. There's no question.
It is ridiculous. I did similar before I was a dad.
And again, that's a whole different.
Again, I'm talking as a guy sitting in my gym, working on, I'm sitting in my squat rack. When I finish this podcast, provided we finish it within the hour, which we should do, I've then got half an hour before my next client comes in. Then after that, I've got an hour before my next thing. So I've got an hour and a half of things to do. I'll use the half an hour to have some food, train a client, then I'll train for an hour before my next thing. And I'm very fortunate with that. But if I don't have that and I have loads of like 20-minute, half an hour gaps throughout the day, I can just train in those 20 minutes. And it might be that I'll go through and it'll be log press for 20 minutes. I'll do that in like some arbitrary number, 3s, 5s, something like that. Work up to like a heavy 3 sets of X, put the logs away, put the weights away, carry on with work. Later on, another 20 minutes, I'll go do some deadlifts. 20 minutes later, I'll do some like sort of ancillary work, bits and pieces that can do that. I am in a very fortuitous position in that I own and work in a gym. I also know that that's not how it works for general population. Another military hero, General Pop. Loves 90s cheesy music. Just general. But like, if you've got your standard 9 to 5, you're up at whatever time in the morning, you got to make your kids' lunchbox, get them to school, into the office for 9, grind through half an hour's lunch break to smash a sandwich and some like bag of crisps and a bottle of Coke down. Another thing, you finish work at 5:30, you leave 6, you're home, pick the kids up, make dinner, stuff like that, and all of a sudden, like, fuck me, where's my day gone?
Yeah.
It's really easy for that to then fall back into going, looping back to what you said. It's easy to then say, I don't have an hour to put into the gym. But like, you've got 15 minutes to go for a walk after dinner.
Yeah. And that sort of, oh, it's all right for you mentality is bollocks anyway, because most people you don't have an hour to train quite frequently. You've got like 3 lots of 30 minutes. Most people would not be able to gym themselves up to train 3 times in a day. And I know it's only short amounts of time, but if you think of like getting to the state of arousal where you're ready to train again, coming back down, then focusing on a client, and that's like every time you see a client and speak to them and stuff, that's quite energy demanding of people, particularly when it's your job. I find like if I have 4 or 5 client phone calls I won't have more than 4 in a day generally. And if I have 4 in a day, I'm bollocks because you're taking on someone else's shit for that period of time, as well as all the other stuff you've got going in the background. And then you've got to get up and train for half hour, then you've got to stop, and then you've got to do it again. So like saying, oh, I wish it's all right for you is crap, because most of the time we wouldn't always want to take someone else's situation anyway, or we don't understand their situation. But yeah, I did a post on this the other day where like, I now see those times where I'm like, I don't want to do this, I don't feel motivated to do it. I generally see that as a sign that it's probably the best time for me to do it. That's what's going to make me feel in a better place. I'm not in a great place, so I don't want to do it. Means if I do it, even if I don't want to, I know I'll be in a better place afterwards. And the tiredness thing that you said, like, there is a difference between tiredness and fatigue and sleepiness. If you feel sleepy, go to the fucking gym. Like, if you feel sleepy and it's 6 o'clock, chances are you're not going to go to sleep. Just go to the gym. You won't feel sleepy the whole time you're at the gym and then go to sleep at the gym. You'll wake up. Like, and the same is no one finishes a marathon and feels sleepy. They feel tired. They're two very different things. So, yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
I think the moral of the story is go to the gym. I think that's what we've
pretty much
established.
Yeah, that. Go to the gym, do stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like, it is just a discipline thing, 100%. But also understanding that there are going to be pitfalls. And again, looping back to what you said, like, no one's got an A to B plan that doesn't defect via fucking G. Like, never, and it's a really, for want of a less twee, fitnessy fucking infographic thing to say, it's never like a straight line. Like, success, windy road. But like, getting from A to B is never A to B. It's A to Z via 3 other fucking alphabets and a set of numbers, and someone threw algebra into it, and you go, what the fuck is that? And eventually you hit Z and you look back and you go, Jesus Christ, that was hard work. But like, it's knowing it's going to be hard work and knowing there's going to be pitfalls and there's going to be curves and there's going to be things you've got to just get on with. Personally, I find quite motivating because you're ready for them. Like, when you wake up, like, you feel not sleepy, you're like just fucked. Like, you had a workout, you're not slept well, you've not eaten properly for whatever reason, you're just feeling fatigued, your body is tired, your bones feel tired. Get an extra hour's sleep, overtraining. 100%. But like, you're just sleepy, go to the fucking gym, go for a walk, go to take the dog out, play with the kids. Like, not if you have a kid, don't just play with someone else's kid. That's weird.
That's so illegal.
Also, just take someone else's dog for a walk, unless it's consensual. If they let you take the dog for a walk.
If the dog lets you, or if the person lets you, whose consent do we have to obtain?
Dog, because dog over people.
Yeah, fair.
So like, go do a thing, and that thing. But my goal this year is to get back to a 200 kilo deadlift. I haven't had that for a long time because spine fucked. But I want to have it back because I liked having it as a number. It doesn't equate to anything, but I'm now like beyond the point of being able to be competitive in my sport. So now I'm like, right, fuck it, let's just chase some arbitrary numbers. Gives me something to train for. I'm not really going to do any competitions because battered. So I have to have a thing straight. My motivation is chasing kilos because I'm a fucking gym rat and that's what I like doing. So for me, I want that 200 kilo deadlift back because I haven't had it for a bit. So therefore, I know I need to deadlift, but I'm starting out with reps of like 120 because that's about as much as my back can hack at the minute. So I go through those. And then it's a thing of, I know full well my goal is to deadlift. If for whatever reason one day I just don't feel like deadlifting because my back's battered, I slept like shit, I know for doing something completely unrelated to deadlifting is still going to somehow, like, mentally, it's going to get me to the point. So I will take my dogs for a slightly longer walk.
Yeah.
And walking will not improve your deadlift, performance-wise and not mechanically. It just won't. I feel like that's an obvious statement to make, but one that people go, really?
Mate, I've been doing 10,000 steps a day just praying it's going to put something on my total, and it just hasn't. Now I know why, yeah.
All it will do is put a total on your bank balance because you've got to buy new trainers because you've worn them down a bit. That's it.
That is actually the case, yeah.
But if I then go, I'm not deadlifting today because my back's in clip and I feel fucked and I slept like shit, I'm going to go for an extra half an hour with the dogs. Like, I've now done an extra half an hour of exercise that I probably wasn't going to do. So mentally, I'm in a better place. And then, like, in a few days' time, when everything feels good again, I'll get back on a deadlift bar and I'm not a million miles away from where I was.
Yeah.
So it's having that ability to swerve around goals and sort of like.
And I think that comes from having real clarity on your goals and then being aligned with what you want. Because if you really care about your deadlift, which obviously you do, so it's a good goal for you, sometimes progress is not training on days when you should train. So again, like, and a question that I get a lot of my clients to ask themselves is, will this serve me? Because it helps with food. Like, not all, for example, like overeating or drinking too much is the same. If it's like your birthday and you're going out with family for a meal and a takeaway, a bottle of wine or whatever, that clearly serves you. So even if your goal is like, I want to be leaner, but you value family and things like that, that's worth it. Like, that's a worthwhile trade-off, that you will diet a little bit longer because you've got that shit. If it's, I'm a bit sad because of traffic and I've had a bottle of wine to myself, probably doesn't serve you, because like it's just not worth it. So, and it's exactly the same with deadlift. Like, does this serve me? Would deadlifting when I can barely like feel my back, would that actually serve my bigger goal? No. Would deadlifting when I'm feeling a little bit tired and a bit of a bitch, would that help? Yeah, probably. So actually now I'm going to go and do that. So if you can create that space between like stimulus and response of like, this is how I feel, and then your action, if you can create that gap, you are going to make a better decision by saying, I've created that gap now, I've actually got time to think about it. Will this serve me? Yeah, I'm going to go and do it then.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, completely agree. This is one of those things, and again, to loop back to the very start of the school, one of the things that I fucking hate the most about my industry is everything is achievable in 12 weeks, and it's simply not. It just isn't. Like, you can get a real good head start on things in 12 weeks, and if you set 12 weeks is an arbitrary number of time, period of time, amount of time.
Letter time, yes.
Insert correct grammar here. 12 weeks is correct grammar, length of time, which is great. And like, let's say 12 months is 12 months. 12 weeks is Jesus Christ. This is 3 months. You can lump that down quite easily. It's a long time.
Yeah.
You can achieve a lot in that time, but arguably you're not going to achieve the big fucking goal in that time. So going back to the 12-week weight loss challenges and all the Instagram nonsense that people float around about, like the before and afters that people chase so fucking avidly, like, they're great, but give them a 12-week and then give them another 12-week out of like, here's how you continue on this route. Where do you want to go? Do you want to carry on? Do you want to maintain? Here's the pros and cons of each, or here's what you want to do, or like, do you want to set something completely different? Like, maybe that's the right amount of time to set for a goal. But also, if I look at a thing, if I looked at like a weight loss goal and they said like 12 weeks, I'm like, fuck, that's a lot of time that's a lot of time to devote to something I don't really care about. Do you know what I mean? So like, it's a thing that most people feel, this is completely anecdotal, I may be completely wrong with this, but I believe most people feel like they have to lose weight because, and then you have that conversation with them, it's like, what's your thing? Like, I just don't like, I don't like how I look in pictures and my clothes don't fit great. Like, I want to lose a dress size, or I want to look better in the thing. So, well, how much does a dress size weigh? We've had this before, right? We've had this. And they're kind of like, what do you mean? It's like, the fucking scales are irrelevant. Like, the scales, not to be that guy's like, throw your scales away, they're nonsense. Like, the scales are a great metric to measure progress, arguably.
Yeah.
You want to look better in your clothes, you want to lose a dress size. That doesn't weigh anything. I'll say to people, if you're a dress size smaller and you feel great, you look amazing, you feel comfortable in your new clothes and you're that sort of stuff, but the scales haven't moved, are you going to be really upset? And they're like, man, no, probably not. It's like, right. So let's work around it. The chances are the scales are going to drop anyway as you get smaller, but that's not. Yeah. But these 12-week challenges that just encourage weight loss for the sake of weight loss, people jump on it because they feel like, I should lose weight.
Yeah.
Like, what are you trying to achieve from this? In 12 weeks, you're 10 kilos lighter. Brilliant. Like, well done. Where are you now? Like, are you any happier? Well, really?
Yeah. No. Like, are you going to stick to that? No. Yeah. Like, those photos are designed for people to look at themselves and go, oh, I'd like to look like that. There are no guarantee that if you did the same thing that those people did, you would look like that. But that's how coaches said it. Like, oh, look at this person. Look at how great they look now. You will look like this if you do my 12-week challenge. All you're doing is putting like money in the pockets of people.
Yeah, 100%.
For nothing.
You could look like this if you do my 12-week challenge.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, maybe, but also maybe not. But it's, again, it just comes back to, and like you say, it's the values thing. What do you value? I value having a six-pack. I can't be fucked. It's a lot of effort.
No. Yeah.
A load of body weight, and frankly, I'd look ridiculous with a six-pack. So I'm just not up. I just don't care. My ego tells me I want to be strong. That's what. And ego's a dirty word. Like, people think that ego is a terrible thing, all the rest of it. Like, ego can be a terrible thing.
Yeah.
Our entire industry is built on ego. My ego is, I want to be stronger than you. My ego is that I want to lift heavy things and look cool with a big fucking wooden log over my head and that sort of stuff. Like, that's a thing. Whereas, like, other people's ego, I want to have a six-pack and I want to look good in fucking pastel shade pink swim shorts on a beach in, like, Cos. I don't know.
Yeah.
Cos these days. I'm showing my age a little bit there, aren't I? But
yeah.
That sort of shit, right? So whatever your goal is, that's totally fine. But understand that you're fueling that into your ego because your ego says that. But understand your ego is not a bad thing. We've all fucking got one. They're just different.
And some people, like, ego's not always an arrogance or a positive thing. Like, people have a negative ego, and that's like, oh, I feel shit about this. That's ego as well. Like, ego isn't like this. It's not always brash and arrogant and confident. We think of people that are egotistical as in like they have an ego, but everyone has an ego. It's just not always like that. Some people it is incredibly negative and related to their body as well. But yeah, like I've always said, like having a six pack for me, my body doesn't naturally stay that lean. Like I would have to fight for that, and that's a trade off between me doing that and not having as much energy as I could to be a better coach. And when that's something that's so important to me, it's just not worth getting that lean for me and not eating enough food and doing that much physical activity and like that much walk and all that sort of stuff. It doesn't allow me to be a better coach, which is actually the main thing I value. So therefore, it's not something I ever chase.
Yeah.
Like if I was ever training so much because I was really enjoying my training and my running and stuff that I happened to maintain a low body fat and I was performing well as a coach, fine. Like I don't care. I'm not saying I wouldn't. If I was lean, I'd go, oh, fuck no. But if I'm not, then I'm also not asked. Like I should be the next Bond regardless. I don't really care what my rig looks like. I just think I've got that certain love of martinis that would make me sort of a natural pick for the role.
No, 100%. Love of martinis, like fast cars and gadgets, that sort of stuff. Like
yeah, women with funny names, like all of it. Honestly, it would all work.
If there was a movie when one of the characters was called Octopussy, you bet your bollocks to a barn dance I'm auditioning. That would be fucking amazing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Also,
and yeah, Tom Hardy's all right. Like I get it, but
he's not Charlie Beestone, frankly.
No, he's not. No, and he's probably grateful for that most days of his life. If he'd met me anyway, he doesn't even fucking think about. See, I'm nobody. But if he did know me, he'd probably go, "Well, at least I'm not that."
I definitely think he listens to this podcast and he goes, "Fuck, I wish I was more like this."
I think he lives in Singapore.
100%. Yeah, he might be the German one actually. One German.
Yeah.
He's one of those definitely. So hi Tom, if you're listening. Great.
Hi Tom.
Maybe.
I think you'd be a great Bond.
Yeah, 100%. It'd be a great one. But I think Charlie Beeston would be better. If
I
would definitely be Odd Job. Like just all the hats of people.
Yeah.
Or the one that Austin Powers took the piss out for a shoe. Also great.
Yeah.
I feel like a shoe is a really undervalued weapon.
I think so. Which brings us full circle that if you had steel toe caps, you can really weaponise them.
Yeah.
So we come back to health and safety again, I guess.
To be fair, like lifting shoes. Like I've got Romello 2s because I'm kind of a big deal. Like the OGs remember Romello 2s. Yeah. Shoes. Nike, if you're listening, which of course you are, because it's an amazing podcast in the world of sports.
Your Singapore office are listening now.
Around with like your Cervelos and your Romello 4s, they're shit. Remake the Romello 2s. They're brilliant shoes. But they don't. But I've got those. When they stopped making them, I bought a second pair just in case my first pair died. They haven't yet, and they probably won't, but I've got a second pair. They are in a vault in a bank somewhere so that no one can steal them. They're not, they're in the gym, but it's not important. But yeah, they could make a great weapon because they're really fucking hard at the bottom.
Anyway, health and safety man would be a pretty bad superhero, wouldn't he?
Robocop would be fucking terrible. Robocop himself is amazing, but Robocop, the health and safety guy I spoke about earlier, awful. It's just a dickhead.
Health and safety man.
Like for one, he'd be harnessed over it, so he couldn't go more than 5 meters.
Yeah, true. You won't be allowed any sharp blades or weapons because they're dangerous. You just have to. How are you going to stop the bad guys? I'm going to legislate. That's how I'm going to do it. That's my only weapon, really.
I'm going to write a strongly worded letter to the site foreman. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's all I got.
That's all I've got. I've got nothing else.
Yeah.
He was shit, to be fair.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Like we're at that point in the show where we've run out of things to talk about, so we're talking about health and safety.
We're probably finished now, aren't we? I mean, the show, not as like people or careers wise.
Not as like.
We're not being cancelled. No.
Yeah, no, we haven't started like doing things. I mean, we probably have done many things that have offended people, but none of them have cancelled us yet, so that's totally fine.
No one listens, so it doesn't matter.
This is true. Like both of you listening, thank you very much. Please don't cancel us.
Yeah. Thanks, Mum. I'm joking. She never fucking listens.
I think, actually, no, I'm lying. So my mum discovered this show through like a thing. So my auntie does a podcast called Nightcraft Plug. She does knitting and things, and it's actually a pretty cool podcast. Her and my cousin do a thing, and it's cool. So I listen to a few. Anyways, my mum listened to that, punched in Night, and then Night's Nuggets came up, and there's also like a picture of me looking all handsome in this very squat rack. She went, I'll have a listen. And her feedback was, the other Charlie's hilarious. I was like, yeah. But cheers, Mum. So yeah, so my mum fucking loves you.
Well, it's only human, isn't it? It's not her fault.
I mean, you are, to be fair, you are like the housewife's favourite.
Yeah.
I'm just the fucking hairy dude that people stay away from at the school gates. That's it. I feel like if you were at the school gates, you'd have all the mums like flirting.
Yeah, but you haven't got a kid at school. I think that's probably the main issue. Is that you shouldn't be anywhere near the school gate.
That might be it. Yeah, I'm getting the practicing when she's at school, but they don't know.
Yeah, of course. Officer.
I'm going to be here in like 4 years' time, so it's fun. I'm just going to the land and see what it's all about. So,
how old is she? Well, I've not had one yet, but when I do have one, I'm just practicing for that.
how old is she? I have no fucking idea. Like, I'm completely single at the minute, so one day I'm going to meet the right person.
We're going to have kids, and all this practice will be well worth it.
And then you watch me fucking boss it at the school gates. Just saying. Anyway, again, divergence. So, goal setting. Again, so I think we said about this in one of the, I was going to say recent episodes. I don't think they can be called them recent. One of the most recent ones that we did, when we were talking about like simple versus easy. Like goal setting, I think is very simple. Doesn't mean it's easy.
Mm-hmm.
So very different. So in terms of goal setting, my top tips would be like write it down, physically pen, paper, write down so you can keep a bit of paper. Break it down into like chunks, bare ass minimum chunks, and like work it out, and then have like a goal that you give a shit about that you're going to actually try and work towards, and then understand it's flexible. That was 4 tips. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's got to be flexible, move around it. That's the thing. So like that's it.
Yeah.
Would you mirror that? Or did I miss
I think so. No, I'm bland easy, but I'm not flexible. And I think that's important to add.
Flexible is the wrong way to put it. Yeah, fine.
Flexible's right for your goal thing. I just mean me personally. I'm simple and easy, but I'm not flexible.
Fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So flexible. For want of another way of putting it, flexible. Don't flex on your long-term goal if it's an achievable goal you set. But understand.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. I do agree.
Like personal flexibility, fucking atrocious.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I don't think so. I think if people go back and listen, that equation, if you can plug your stuff into, do I give a shit about this? Do I think I'll get good results with it? What do I do day to day that throws me off? And are my goals close enough to feel like I could actually achieve them soon? That's a good place to start.
100%.
100%.
Nice. Cool. Wow, it's lovely to be back. I think that was about 50 minutes. So that was cool.
Wow.
Yeah. I like it. So we've got like 10 minutes to chat about absolute nonsense.
Yeah.
I won't.
We could. Yeah, we could. Yeah.
6 in 3 or 4 months' time. But yeah, so in terms of where we go from here, this is the part where we try and sell you shit. So if you're not interested in buying our stuff, tune back in next time, or listen to our back catalogue. I feel like at 25 episodes we can have a back catalogue.
25, yeah.
25. Well, 25 less a couple I cheated on you.
Oh, you did, yeah. Slag. Yeah.
Or maybe 23, 24, 24.
Yeah, 23. Annabelle and James, yeah.
Like episode 3.
Not that I'm keeping track of anything.
Behind, like, what we can't see on Charlie's, we're looking at Charlie, behind Charlie's screen, at the 4th wall, is a picture of Annabelle and James with like red X's and like darts.
Dartboard, mate. Yeah.
You can see that, but he's quite sinister. The man is Charlie.
Yeah.
Be careful around that. But anyways, here's where we're going to try and sell you shit. So in terms of what I do strength. That's basically it. That should be on a t-shirt. I do strength. Picture of a Neanderthal on it, because me.
Yeah.
That's what I do. So if you are a strength athlete, or you're intrigued in doing strength stuff, or you want to get a little bit stronger, you don't understand how the fuck to do weightsy stuff, that's my jam. So I coach at Redwood Barbell Club, weightlifting, powerlifting, and strongman. So those are the things. If you want a hand with comp prep or setting goals for those sports, or just generally you just train at a commercial gym, enjoy lifting weights, but you want to set some goals to hit this year, tap me up. Phone call is on me. Like, advice is free. I'm not going to charge you for a goal setting session. That's ridiculous. So let's just have a chat. Let's try and point you in the right direction. And again, if you are one of the, I just started in January, keep fucking going. Like, you're doing cool. Like, if you want a hand, like a point in the right direction, just get in touch. Like, just get in touch. I'm more than happy helping talk through what you've done and where you're going to go, and maybe help set that plan in place. So that's me. And then to other Charlie, I'm pointing here because he's on that side of my screen. If you're listening on podcast, you can't see me pointing, but he's there. He does food and such, like nutrition and mindset and things. I'm saying it like that because I don't do nutrition and mindset and things. I maybe do a bit of mindset stuff, but nutrition's not my jam. So that's him. So if you want to talk about foodie stuff, that's Charlie. You mentioned you've got like an email workshop thing going on at the minute. What was that about?
Yeah, so it's like a 5-day goal setting email course where basically walk people through the stuff we spoke about today with like worksheets on the end so you can actually write down, this is what I want to achieve, this is how I'm going to do it, and all that sort of shit. And some people have said that's quite useful, so that's good.
Awesome. Some people being Charlie's mum and my mum, to be fair.
She actually said it was a crock of shit, but there were some other people who said it was good. So, yeah.
So there you go. So on Instagram is how you're going to find us. So I'm at Redbeard Barbell Club or at Night Strength. I'm greedy. I've got 2 accounts. Charlie is at CB Nutrition _.
There you go.
Smashed it. Look at me remembering stuff. Nice. Right. Until next time. Thanks for listening, friends, and
So that.
See you soon.